Mediocre Rumble Brothers. Three, two, one.
All right, welcome to Mediocre Rumble Brothers. I'm Jordan, your host, and the team Corey, Edwin, and Udon. Also, remember to follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, let's go ahead and just start with this. All right, today we were supposed to be having a chat about Tomb Raider. We're not doing that. We're gonna just go in with news this week with the Pokemon Direct, and then just some other stuff that we have from the team. So let's go ahead and just jump in with the Pokemon Direct.
Where do we want to start? You want to lead us, Udon?
Yeah, sure. Because we'll get more into why we didn't do Tomb Raider here at the end. But we're going to talk about the stuff people want to talk about first. But the Pokemon Connect was superbly disappointing for me as a huge fan of Pokemon, and part of that was my fault. Part of it was Corey's fault. But you're the one who's sharing the fucking leaks, getting my hopes up, and it turned out to be bullshit.
I guess hopes and dreams.
I
That's all I
guess.
was peddling.
I know, you're snake oil salesman.
It was rumors and leaks and all these trust me, bro statements, and all of them ended up not being true. I feel like they do it on purpose, though. It's like the way that Last Jedi was made was to subvert any predictions. They're like, they'll never see this coming, and when they saw a leak online, they're like, okay, take that out of the presentation. We can't let it be right.
It's because again, I never ever speculate on these things. I never think about it. So that way I'm not disappointed. But the leaks that Corey brought up was about a compilation of red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, and ruby, sapphire, and emerald possibly being basically put on a virtual console, them doing something to port them to newer consoles, right? Especially a compilation disc that would make them physical on Nintendo Switch. I'm like, oh my god, that'd be so awesome. But of course, as leaks go, it turned out to be complete bullshit, and again, I'm getting my hopes up for no reason. So I can't be mad about it, or I can be mad about it, but I can't be mad at Nintendo about it or Pokemon Company because it wasn't real. But beyond the completely fake, overall, I thought it was pretty boring, I guess, because most of these Pokemon Directs, Connects, whatever you want to fucking call them, they always open up with all their news on their mobile game. Jesus Christ! All right, fucking Octorock's ready with that one. They always open up with all their mobile game bullshit. And they do it all the time, and it's just I don't know barely anyone who cares besides people who play Pokemon Go, or I actually play the Pokemon Masters, and all the shit that they presented with the Pokemon Masters was already known. The only thing they presented was the new sync pairs, but so no one really cares about all that stuff, and most of it's not even really new anyways. They have a new episode of that weird Netflix show they have, I guess, going, which I think it looks cute because of the stop motion thing, but that's about it, I guess. As far as the meat of the Direct, there really wasn't anything, because even before it happened, I said the bare minimum we're gonna get is ZA gameplay, which we did, and while we didn't get the bare minimum, the only other thing they announced was that new Pokemon Stadium-esque thing that's gonna be they're basically Universal Battler, it looks like. You can play it on the Switch and on your phone, and you get to use all the Pokemon you have in Pokemon Bank, and you can use Terastallization and Mega Evolution all in the same thing, which on the surface sounds cool, and they're using it. I'm betting anything it's being used to directly compete with. The name of it escapes me, but there's some third-party website that
Pokemon Showdown.
That's what it is. Thank you, Edwin. Yeah, Pokemon Showdown that basically does that already. And I bet anything they've been trying to figure out something that would compete with that. Which I'm kind of surprised we haven't had any news of them taking it down now that they've actually announced that. But and I mean, for the people who like PvP, that's fine. I just don't. I hate Pokemon PvP. I think it's terrible. I don't like doing it because I can't. It's all about the meta and what Pokemon are good or not. Very rarely it stretches outside of that. So I just, it doesn't matter. I don't care. And aside from that, the only other thing we got was ZA gameplay, and then after that trailer dropped, I'm less excited for that game than I was originally. Strictly due to the fact that it's like, I mean, I don't know. Is it more intriguing or less intriguing? Well, quite frankly, I was talking about this with Tim earlier because we were out playing Pokemon Go today, and it seems that ZA is just X and Y 2. Like, it doesn't even seem like it's a proper, like, I guess I don't know what we would define as a Pokemon Legends game, considering the only other one we have to go on is Arceus. But like, when Arceus dropped, it was really intriguing because it was like, oh, sweet, we're in the past. We get to see like proto Pokeballs and stuff like that. Like, Pokemon are like really violent and they chase after you and attack you and stuff. Like, that's crazy. That's cool. And so that was really neat. And then, like, when the ZA trailer dropped, I already had the prediction that it was going to take place in the future, which I guess you can tell me that this is technically the future, but quite frankly, I didn't see any difference between this and, like, whatever you consider modern-day Pokemon, I suppose. Like, it doesn't look like it's in the future. Just, again, it looks like X and Y too, especially considering it has all, like older characters like that, the old guy Z or XY, whatever the fuck his name is, that was in X and Y originally, which I gotta imagine the guy who I guess cracked immortality and spent 1,000,000 years trying to find his fucking Floette, and then after he did, he decided to open a bed and breakfast. So he has weird life priorities. But it's just, it doesn't look intriguing. Like, it just looks like normal ass Pokemon. Not only that, when they did Legends Arceus, they brought back like the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl art style, right? So it looks more like Ken Sugimori's original like illustrations for the games. You especially notice it when you look at the eyes, is very noticeable for the games. But this one, they're just bringing back the Scarlet and Violet art style, which I don't think is bad on a surface level, but even based on the gameplay trailer, it's like, it looks like it runs at a good frame rate. But I'm a bit skeptical. I'm going to go ahead and assume that everything is running on a Switch 2, presumably. I can't imagine it's not. It's either that or they finally hired some motherfucker that knows how to optimize video games. But it just doesn't look like X or Y to me. And maybe that was the goal, but I think the point is to like invoke that same kind of feeling. So that's, I don't know. I didn't really like that at all. And aside from the art style, the only positive I really took away from the trailer was the actual battle gameplay, being able to like move around in real time with your Pokemon and like dodging attacks like in real time. Like that looked really neat. I really liked that. But that's about the only thing I can say about it. The starter selection is weird because you have Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. And I'm like, why the fuck are there 2 Johto starters? In Arceus, we had 1 starter from 3 different regions. Now we have 2 Johtos and then Tepig, who's also here. I was like, that's a weird decision. Mega Evolution being back is cool, and those 3 starters are probably going to be getting Mega Evolutions too, because that'll be neat. I don't know. Then not only that, Edwin brought this up too, that I felt the same way about it, is that it looks like the entire game is going to take place in the city, because I guess how it is like, it's a big ass city with like these wild zones that wild Pokemon just exist in. And I compared it to basically just a zoo that you get to go in and catch the animals, because that's basically what it is. I'm like, I don't get to go on an adventure. I just have to dick around in this city, and then every now and again I get to go into an enclosure and go like harass the animals in there. I'm like, that's lame. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like an adventure to me.
Don't forget the random parkouring over the rooftops.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, I don't care about, like, it would be cool, right? But, like, the parkour you do is with your dumbass Rotom phone, which, by the way, looked like they're just ripping the same exact animation they used for Scarlet and Violet when the thing saves you from a fall. But I'm just like, dude, if I'm going to be doing acrobatics and shit, let me do it with a Pokemon. Like, let me catch something and then, like, ride it to do that. I mean, again, they did this in Arceus. You get a bunch of different Pokemon to ride that all have these different fucking abilities and shit. And I would think they should just take that one step further with being able to let you capture your own Pokemon that all have like these specific sets of abilities, right? It's like, I don't know, you have to cut down something in your way. I mean, if you're going to bring back the old HM cut or whatever, and if you don't want to make it an HM, just like, oh, you have to catch a Scyther or a Pinsir or like whatever, some Pokemon that has, sharp scythes or some claws, and you use them to cut cut your way down. Let me use my Pokemon. Like it's supposed to be an adventure with my Pokemon. But just the fact that it's all taking place in the city, there's no sense of adventure, there's no sense of like real intrigue either, because it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to think about this new game. I mean, I say all that, I'm still going to buy it because I still want to experience the battle system and stuff, and I've collected all the mains. I mean, it's technically a spin-off, but I'm hoping it's better than what I'm predicting, but like I don't know. It didn't impress me. I'm less excited for it now than I was prior to. So I don't know. Overall, I was just profoundly disappointed with the Pokemon Direct. So I mean, if anyone else has any thoughts on it, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm just kind of disappointed. I'm cautiously like hoping that I'm wrong, but not only that, I also thought if it wasn't the leaks that I was getting excited about, but the next games on the remake list is Black and White, and I thought we would have at least gotten like a teaser trailer for them, but we got nothing. Like, this is the Pokemon Anniversary Day. This is the day that, Red and Green originally released in Japan. I really thought we were going to get more than what we got, but we really got pretty much the bare minimum, in my opinion.
I don't think that you are far off with any of these like negative feelings, I suppose. They really lead that whole thing into this commercial of everybody playing Pokemon throughout the years. And then that's when I was like, here we go. We're going to get a collection. And then they announced that weird, the it's in development, but it's the stadium one that's basically just a
Champions.
battler. Yeah, with and it's like you set this up perfectly with the trading back and forth and then showing people using Game Boy all the way up to now, and it's like, here it is. We're gonna get the like anthology collection or whatever. And it was just womp womp. It's like, oh no. But with the new Legends game, I guess the only thing that I was excited about was probably the battle system. Outside of that, man, you've jumped right in that hole.
I was trying to do some. I'm trying to like cheese it. I want to know if the game's gonna let me cheese it. Oh fuck. Before I sit here and lose all my life.
I guess the town is neat, but yeah, is it just the city? I kind of made a statement. I don't know like which episode it was, but I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if there was a Pokemon that was set in like a whole city, right? But if it was like, the size of like New York, and it was, based on like the various districts, but this just, I don't know if this is what they're doing, or because it's like, oh, there's a Pokemon in an alleyway and there's like a little park area or something.
Well, if it really was like a full city, where we're talking, I mean, I'm not to scale, that'd be insane, but like something like New York, where there's a bunch of different, you could consider them like urban biomes, I guess, because they kind of did it in Black and White, where they had the big ass big ass thing that's like New York City, where you can go in the sewers and catch Pokemon and stuff like that. Like, I feel like they could do something like that, but like I said, it doesn't seem like anything. It just seems like it's X and Y too. It feels like Black and White too, but now it's X and Y too. It doesn't feel like a original take on the genre or the games, because it doesn't feel great. I mean, and I only have one other game to compare it to, but Arceus had so much more going for it in terms of like being interesting. So I don't know.
I wonder what it is that like is leading them to kind of, I mean, I guess half-assing a mainline Pokemon game like this. I mean, it's not a mainline; it's a spin-off, but at the same time, it's it is a console version of a Pokemon experience. We don't have the next blank and blank version of a Pokemon game. This is just a Legends game. But does that mean we're going to get a very stellar Pokemon game after this? Maybe they'll announce one next year or something like that. But maybe this game, because of the development cycle, it's going to be multi-platform with Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. And then the next Pokemon game will exclusively be Switch 2. And that's kind of why it looks the way it does. I don't think it's terrible looking, but at the same time, it's nothing like it doesn't really resonate with like, oh, this is a very big step forward beyond Scarlet and Violet, because even Sword and Shield still looks more polished, I guess.
Again, I think it has to do with the art style, because if you look at Scarlet and Violet, and you look at like even just going back to just Sword and Shield, like it's a lot having to do with the eyes. Like Pokemon's style has always had, their eyes have always been a lot like very vertical, like very like, you know, slim on either side and, you know, tall on top and bottom. But then Scarlet and Violet made them much more rounded. And obviously in characters, especially in anime style characters, the eyes are a big draw for people. And I mean, I'm really hung up on something most would consider superficial, but it just doesn't look right to me, because Ken Sugimori's art style has always been like the default art style for Pokemon that started that whole trend. And I don't know, it just looks fucking weird to me, man. I don't know what to say. I don't get it. And like I said, they went back to it more with Diamond and Pearl with Arceus, because that's where the games came from, and I would have imagined they would have went back to it for this from X and Y, but they didn't. They're just continuing forward with this Scarlet and Violet art style, which I found really odd, and it just puts me off in a weird way, I guess. I don't know.
I wonder, like how the rival system and stuff works, because it was like this or this. So is the rival going to be like, let's say you pick a female trainer, is it going to be a male rival, or is it going to like to counter you, or is it going to be the other way around?
No, it's gonna if you pick the girl, your rival will be the boy. If you pick the boy, your rival will be the girl. And that kind of harkens back to how it used to work, or how sometimes it worked, I guess, because they started that in Ruby and Sapphire, where if you pick Brendan, your rival is May, and vice versa. And I don't know. I mean, that's fine, I guess. I just don't feel like it's going to affect anything other than who you're talking to, your rival wise, you know? Because the other thing they never even brought up was like, what's the conflict? What's happening? You know?
I was wondering that too, because I mean, I obviously know, like when they announced Arceus, we knew it's like, oh, we have to go around and document Pokemon and whatever, because it's not like a gym game; it's a whole different experience. But you know, and I knew that this wasn't going to be like go around get badges, you know, situation, because it's not the mainline Pokemon game. So I was waiting for them to talk about it, and they have this, I guess, the tower, whatever the company that has this tower is going to, that's like, I guess the main focus is whatever that is. But the characters, like they have the really tall Frankenstein dude and the old lady, and I was like, okay, they do it every time. So where's the character that the internet is going to go ape shit over and start drawing a bunch of fan art?
And do you not know?
Is it the old lady? I
No,
mean, because I thought that was funny if it would be her,
it's
but
literally a background character in like the official artwork they previewed. You can see basically the Hex Maniac that was also drawn a ton when X and Y came out, but now she's like now she's a mature woman now, so they've been drawing this shit out of her.
that's kind of funny, because I was like, where are the characters? Because I thought that there'd be a really cool like lead up to whatever that was going to be, but the cast just seems kind of like a bunch of B level cast members.
Well, that's another thing that was cool about Arceus, was because like it had a handful of original characters, but a lot of the characters were like gender bent, what you would assume ancestors of characters that you saw in the Sinnoh games. So that was really cool. But then, yeah, here you don't see that. It's like, well, where's the X and Y protagonists? Where, like, hell, in X and Y, you had what? You ran around with, what was it, Edwin? You like X and Y. It was like you had Serena, and you had like Torino. You had like, what was it, 4 friends you were running around with? Like you had a huge group you were running around.
You
with.
had
like,
you had the main protagonist. You had Torino, which is like a dancer. You had the little nerd. He shows up the least, so I forgot his name. And then you had the girl who,
that was his name.
No, Trevor. Yeah, and then you had the girl who just wanted to go on an adventure. So you had like 4 of them, and then it was like they just constantly like bother you, or like they run into trouble, each their own, and then they all just had like something specific to prove to you as like the actual player.
But like even because like in Black and White and Black and White 2, because they're continuitous, like all the characters that you saw in Black and White 1, you kind of see like, where did they wind up now? And it's really cool to see a bunch of characters that you saw in Black and White 1 and see where they ended up. The only people you don't directly see is the protagonists from those past games. So seeing, like, if you saw, because this game doesn't seem to be far future. If it is, you fucking fooled me. But it just seems like slightly in the future. So I would imagine we would see where all those characters are now. Like Torino's like a dance expert or something. Serena's like a pro battler or whatever, what have you. I don't know. But you didn't see any of it. There's, like I said, there's no interest. There's no intrigue. Like, what is supposed to make me want to play this game? It's almost like they're really banking hard that Mega Evolution by itself is going to bring people in. I don't know. It just feels like that's what they're going for.
Yeah, it is. It's strange because I feel like there's a lot of information left out, but this was the moment, right? It wasn't like a teaser of the game. They were literally showing it off. So it's like, why leave a lot of that information out? They did say they didn't put a hard release date, right? They didn't say it was
just
later
later
this year.
Yeah, later this year. So I mean, is that a holiday release? Probably. When did Scarlet and Violet come out? Wasn't that a November release or something?
I think so. Yeah, it was near the holiday season.
So we'll probably see that drop. Either it's either going to be like a summer game. I've seen rumors of people talking about the Switch 2 listed for a June release, which it would be to take on the summer break audience. But they don't have a console to compete against right now. They're just dropping a new hardware, and there's nobody else dropping new hardware. So, they could hold out till the holiday season, or if they do a double drop this year for summer break, then kids are back in school, and then everybody that got one over summer talks about it, and then all the kids want it for, Christmas. So you could do that.
My assumption is that they didn't give an exact release date is because it is going to be a launch title for the Switch 2.
Oh, for sure.
If they gave a launch date for ZA, then that would give away the launch date for the Switch 2, and they already don't want to talk about the Switch 2 anymore.
Yeah, and maybe, benefit of a doubt, I guess, and this is just hopeful thinking, but maybe on April, what is it? Is it April 1st or 2nd? I can't remember which day they chose, or 4th maybe. One of the first week of April, they're doing that Nintendo Direct where they show the Switch 2 stuff off. Maybe they're going to show more of that running on the Switch 2, where they can show a side-by-side comparison, because people are really going to want to see that, honestly, and they're not going to want to see YouTubers doing it, because that's not a good way to approach that. They're going to need Nintendo to be like, here's it on the Switch, here's it on the Switch 2, and then we go, oh shit, that's way better looking now. But they're going to have that as a launch title. They're also going to have Metroid as a launch title, so we'll see what library of games are going to come out with that. But it's not like they don't have a Switch version of it, like a physical Switch, like ZA Switch, I guess, that's launching with it, because usually the Pokemon games have like a paired console or some sort of.
Well, again, it's usually the mainline thing. I don't think they had one for Arceus either, so I'm not having that isn't really that unusual.
Yeah,
no,
so, but like I said,
holdover type of thing.
I'm definitely assuming that they are running it on Switch 2 hardware, like I said, unless suddenly they just hired someone who can fucking optimize their game, because that really does not seem like that is the Switch hardware compared to how bad Scarlet and Violet runs.
I would assume they would do the same thing that they did with Zelda, just put it on the previous and the new one, just so they have like a universal accessibility for everyone, so that way you don't have to spend technically almost $500 on a console just to play the game that you want to play.
Yeah, they know already people aren't going to they're going to move consoles, but they can't rely on the console to also have access to this Pokemon game. That's why it's probably going to be multi-platform, because like a mainline Pokemon game will move consoles. In fact, it'll probably move multiple consoles, because they're going to do the like blank and blank version of console, and they're like the super collectors. I mean, that's not going to be everybody, but I mean, there was a Sword and Shield Switch. in the form of like a fancier dock. I can't remember if the
Animal
actual
Crossing
Switch
one?
itself.
The Switch itself, it does have a design on it.
Yeah, I mean, even the DSs were like that. So, like, it's not unusual for Nintendo to do that. But with this, it's just going to be, here's a Pokemon game to hold you guys over. That's why I think Echoes of Wisdom exists, because we got Tears of the Kingdom, and then a main, like, big ass Zelda game is going to be a while. So they gave us a spin-off game, and I'm expecting some sort of remake of a classic Zelda game coming, whether it's going to be a port of the Twilight Princess from the Wii U, or I think Twilight Princess has got an HD on Wii U, or did it not?
Twilight Princess on the Wii U?
Yeah, that one, I actually like that one. I like the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on the Wii U. If we can get like a port, if we can get a port of Age of Calamity, Hyrule Warriors on the Switch 2, that would be nice, because that thing runs shit on the regular Switch, especially in 2-player mode.
I mean, they might take a page out of PlayStation's book with the, like, if you already own it, we're going to have patches for like a better version of it on the, Switch, that you put it in, and then it's just like you have an upgrade patch or something. I mean, it is Nintendo. They kind of do internet stuff weird. Like, some stuff is really cool, and then some stuff is just like, what? Like, why did you do that? Okay.
Well, they invited people to like co-stream the Pokemon Connect or Direct or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were openly like being like, "Hey, you can do this. Just don't do anything we wouldn't do."
The fact that they give Pokemon Sleep some screen time is weird. I know
it existed,
that it's a thing, but it's just like, I don't really care that much about whatever that app is.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't know how many people use, because I used it for a little bit, just out of curiosity, and it's a cute little app. It does pretty much what you expect it to do. You wake up, and that's like, your first thing you do. Except now, instead of that, I open up TCG packs.
Yeah.
But I mean, so it's just, if as long as it's around and making money, because I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know anyone that's not me that plays Pokemon Masters, but yet somehow it's still around, so it must be making money, So.
Mm-hmm.
So on the Pokemon Direct, is that Pokemon Champion supposed to be some sort of like Pokemon Stadium kind of deal?
So
it's basically live service Pokemon Stadium.
Kind of, yeah, basically. I mean, that when people are comparing it to the Pokemon Stadium, they're not wrong. So, like, it's what Edwin said. There's this thing called Pokemon Showdown. That's not an official Nintendo thing. It's just a third party. Someone made it where people can basically create a team of Pokemon. You can pick whatever Pokemon you want, get whatever legal move sets they have, and you can use Mega Evolution, Dynamax, Terrestrialization, like all like battle gimmicks, and they just fight online. They match against other people in battle, because people really like the PvP Pokemon battling. And this is basically Nintendo's response to that, because I know how popular that thing has become. So I'm assuming they're trying to compete with it in some official manner, because it's going to be, you can use it from the Switch, you can use it from your phone, it seems, and you'll be able to connect to Pokemon Home, which is basically this thing people can pay for, which I do, where it's this giant server that you can keep all your Pokemon. And you can use all your Pokemon in there to battle. So yeah, it's basically just a universal battler, so people can just Pokemon battle wherever they want,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna start ranting, because like I got a bunch of things to say, but I want everyone else to have a chance to talk. But it's like, my opinion on Pokemon Champions is, I mean, I like the idea, but pretty much they're just going up against something that's already existing and like is already super popular and probably easier to use, because the way Pokemon Showdown works is that you can pick from any Pokemon and design them from scratch. You don't have to do any of the training or anything, and all of it is completely free. For Pokemon Champions, the way they phrased it is like, there are Pokemon inside the app, but you can also move your own Pokemon the way you would in other Pokemon stadiums from the corresponding console or from your Pokemon Home. into the Pokemon Stadium, or in this case, Pokemon Champions, and then use them to battle with. The problem with that is that you would have to raise and train the Pokemon yourself, which already takes a decent while, especially to make a good team that like learns the move from like egg moves and all that. So it's like a lot of back and forth. And then you have to move it over, and then you also have to pay the subscription for Pokemon Home to transfer it over, which is just like a fee up front, because the way Pokemon Home is that if you're not paying for it, it only gives you the one box where your first 30 Pokemon are in it. And you can't access any other Pokemon to move in or move out unless you're paying. So you already have to pay for something, even though Pokemon Champions is free. But for Pokemon Showdown, all of it is free, and you don't have to waste time training or raising, and you can just do everything from scratch and then just get straight to battling. The only thing is that for both sides, you just need like the know-how and like an idea of what team you want to design.
I think because I mean, in the official Pokemon like tournaments that Nintendo runs, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I understand what you're saying, like with the tediousness that comes with raising the Pokemon, which personally I think needs to be required anyways in a professional setting, because I mean that's half the point of Pokemon. Maybe I'm just too sentimental about it, but like that's why I don't like PvP Pokemon, because it starts treating them just like as objects of just stat lines and stuff. I like Pokemon as like creatures. I mean, maybe I'm getting too sentimental about some fictional creatures, but it takes all the love out of Pokemon in my opinion.
I know, but it's like if you feel that way, you'd most likely just be playing the game itself. You wouldn't be in the PvP aspect. But people go in it like so much, and then over the years they design it and just move it forward so they can just use it in Pokemon stuff. But for like you go into Pokemon Stadium, that's all you're doing. Like you don't need like the sentimental stuff to like get into the PvP aspect. You just know what you're doing. You design a team. All right, this one works fine. I want to design another one like straight away, and just like design 3 teams in one day, and just battle all day long, and don't have to like do the raising and stuff. That'll take several hours or maybe a week, depending on how serious you are about it.
Yeah, because I mean, it also gets into the breeding when you want something with the perfect IVs and shit like that. And it does take time, but I mean, I guess that's kind of the point, I suppose. I don't know. It's just like if the official, I'm not surprised they're doing it, I guess, in this sense, because in the official tournaments, you also have to raise your Pokemon. So they're just asking that of people. And people who are into that, I guess, probably like it. Or if they don't like it, they definitely understand the tediousness of it, I guess. I don't know. I guess they probably treat Pokemon Showdown more of a just like, I'm going to make this team really quick and see how it performs. And now that I've seen how it performs, I can like make that team now that I know that it works, instead of like wasting my time, I suppose. Which is why I'm almost surprised that they haven't brought the ban hammer down on that site now that they're going to have something directly competing with it, as is their typical MO with stuff like this.
I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah, exactly, because they did the same thing with that one. Like they released their little like boxy Pokemon thing, and then they banned that Minecraft mod at the same exact time. Or when they decided to, you know, we suddenly care about Metroid again, so now we're gonna fucking ban this what was it, like it was like a fan remake of like Metroid Fusion or some shit like that, wasn't it? Something along those lines.
I don't know anything about that part, but it was like I mean I like the idea of Pokemon Champions, because it just means like, oh, because it's a live service. It's just always exists and only just needs to be turned off for maintenance. So if any new Pokemon come out, or if any new mechanic comes out, they just add it to that, which is pretty much what we talked about before for if Super Smash Bros. Became a live service type of deal, then they can just add characters and stages, and then just don't have to release a new whole game just to add those new things and remove what they don't want anymore. So it's just like constantly adding to it without having to pay $40 to $60 up front just to experience the new stuff.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, and when it came back to your point about the price for Pokemon Home, I mean, granted, it sucks that you have to pay money, but Pokemon Home is only like $3 a month or something like that, so I don't really think that's too much of an ask.
I mean, my problem is like, yeah, moving, charging to move Pokemon in there made more sense, but it was like I already paid money to move Pokemon in there. It was like, why are you charging me to take them out? They're like, technically, it is mine. You're just holding it for me. It's
Yeah.
like, but I wanted to like expand on the ZA deal. My problem with it is like when I thought of Pokemon Legends, it's just like when going back to the like Legends Arceus, like you were interested in that. You know, like when I think of Legends, I think of like the like old stories and like talks like myths and things like that. So it's just like how that region was like made to be and like the legend of Arceus. So it was like you would think that was like, oh, it's part of the past and all that. So when it was like, oh, but now ZA is like in the slight future. It's not even in the far future, like in Scarlet and Violet, where Pokemon are robots, and then like there's like human robots and all that. So it's just like kind of weird. So it is weird that it's not X and Y 2 or Pokemon Z, which I guess in this case kind of is. But it's just like they just like plastered legends on it for no apparent reason when it's just like a few years in the future. But like the whole idea of it is instead of like the past where everyone was expecting to like put a stop or to somehow help out in the Pokemon War that was like told to you in Pokemon X and Y, which is what everyone was expecting, and they wanted to be a part of that, so they wanted to learn why that even came to be. That's what everyone was hoping for, but instead we just get the Black and White 2 type of deal, and they didn't even show like any of those other characters, which I think by this point, they didn't show any of them because in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you had to deal with like the crazy alpha Pokemon that are just like rampaging and causing trouble. But here, it seems like the case is mostly within the city limits. So, like, are we getting? There's no like sense in having like rampaging Pokemon. Maybe there are. It could be like I don't know, a Godzilla type of deal. But it's like if if this really is just like a few years in the future from X and Y, then maybe those characters he did travel with before, like now they're gym leaders or something like that. Because there's like that whole trailer didn't really explain like who's your friend, who's your enemy. It was like it just seemed like everyone was like there for you. So I mean, like
That's the other thing. It's like
Lysander was like a two-faced bastard. So
I don't think he was a two-faced bastard. He was like a Thanos situation. He's just like, I care about the universe, so the only way to save it is to destroy it. It's like, okay, crazy. But I mean, what you just said, you just brought up like possibly they're gym leaders, and I'm just like, well, that would be kind of neat because that's what happened in Black and White. Sharon became the first gym leader, and he was your rival in the first games. But then, if we're going back to the gym formula, the fuck is the point of this game? Why isn't it just the new main series, or just call it X and Y 2? Because again, that's the whole point of like I would think that the Legend series that they were going to build it up about is the fact that there was like I don't know, it's like a different take on Pokemon. It's not about gyms, it's about having a fucking adventure. I just want to go out and see places, not dick around in some city.
yeah, because it is kind of weird. It's like you explored like the entire region in X and Y, but now in the like somewhat whatever type of sequel this is supposed to be is like now you're like restricted into the city that in this case is bigger than the original one on DS, but now it's just like you can't explore like the forest or anything you saw before, which is just kind of weird. It's like, oh, you know, like instead of the Pokemon living in their natural habitat, we force them all into this city in these secluded areas, like as you said, a zoo, which is just weird. Because like when I saw that trailer, like parkouring over the rooftops, the only thing that came into my head was like, this is gonna be like a fucking Assassin's Creed 1 situation. I was like, I'm just gonna be seeing like all these same colors, the white buildings, the brown rooftops, all this nonsense just running around. There's no variety in color really from what I saw in the trailer.
Yeah, no variety in color, and I mean, I'm not an expert on French architecture. I'm not saying it doesn't look like French, but if that is French architecture, holy fuck, is it boring? Because it just looks like any generic city I could have possibly seen in any other Pokemon game. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, look at it. I'm like, wow, I am, and I'm not impressed at all.
Yeah, the battling system was like everyone just joked about. It was like, finally, after 20-something years, we could finally use the dodge ability that they kept using in the anime, which is the most overpowered thing. I can't wait to dodge a hyper beam. But
like I said, the battle system itself was the best fucking thing about the whole trailer. Like that legitimately was the coolest thing, and I am excited for that. But that's it.
Yeah, but my one thought about it is that, so technically to move the Pokemon, you yourself have to run. And in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you can get hurt by Pokemon attacks. So what happens if you the trainer, run into the Pokemon's attack trying to dodge it, but your Pokemon like actually does dodge it? You're just caught in the crossfire.
You just get fucking killed,
and
you get killed, and the other person gets charged for manslaughter.
Yeah, I just thought that was a funny thought. I was like, that's the first thing I'm gonna try. But it's just like my thoughts on it. Like, besides the starters, it was like I explained this to before to someone else. It's like, I hate the fact that it was like not all the Pokemon are like shuffled. It's like 2 from Gen 2. It was like, I personally don't like any of the Gen 2 Pokemon, so obviously my only choice left is to play Tepig. So it's
how
like,
dare you? You don't like Totodile? He's the goodest boy. How dare you?
I don't even remember what Pokemon what starter I picked for Soul Silver. I was like, because I'm pretty sure I did not use them the entire way through, because I don't remember seeing the last one, which is why I keep forgetting what it was. It could have been Chikorita, but it was like I did not evolve it all the way through because I did not care. I'm sorry to everyone who likes Chikorita. But
I'm not. You're a soulless fucking bastard.
I mean, literally, my choice between the 3, because of how much I don't like the Gen 2 starters, like my only option was Tepig. But even so, I was like, I don't like Tepig anymore. It's just like the one I dislike the least. So it was either Tepig or Totodile. So it's like that's why I hated the fact. I was like, why are 2 of them from the same generation? If literally they switched like Chikorita for like Turtwig or Totodile for Piplup, then maybe I've had a harder time. But
for those of us that have a heart, it's a good selection. I just didn't understand why there were 2 Johto Pokemon as opposed to something else.
Yeah, because if you're not gonna like fully shuffle all of them, I don't know what's stopping you from just having like the same 3 starters but just in a different region. Because like literally you could have just had Cyndaquil in this one as well instead of Tepig, and then just like had like an entire other 3 set of the same gen Pokemon in Arceus. There was like if you're not fully shuffling all of them, I don't know what's stopping you from not having the entire set all at once. It just made me mad. It was like, well, like now like my choice isn't as interesting. Like when a new game comes out and like now I have to pick from design itself, not from actually like knowing what the Pokemon is. Because it was like a somewhat interesting choice, choosing Pokemon from across the entire series, like choosing a random assortment of each of them as opposed to just not knowing what any of the Pokemon are. So it was just different experiences to the start of the game. It was like just it had like the somewhat similar like knowing and unknowingness of what started to choose from the very beginning, because like that's the most important thing you can do in a Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did see another one in that direct was the Pokemon Concierge. I thought that was kind of cool with the stop motion stuff. That was like it's gonna be like a cartoon, right, or somewhat for like kids to watch.
Well, it's been going for a while. I guess all the announcement was a new episode. But yeah, it's a cute stop motion thing. It's only on Netflix, but I mean, I'm just like whatever about it. I'm not paying for Netflix, so you can go fuck yourself. It's cute, but I'm not paying for Netflix for that.
I mean, I'm not even sure what it's fully about. I think it's just like a
It's just a
caretaker for like a
cozy
vacation.
show.
It just
I
looked
think
really
it's
pretty.
literally. It's just literally. I think it's literally just meant to like be looked at and be cute, and just be like this comfy little show. I think that's really all it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it looked like they're made out of yarn or like plush toys and stuff. It looked really interesting to me.
One thing about the direct that like caught me off guard when they announced like, oh, Mega Evolution back in the TCG. It was like I thought they meant the mobile one because they were releasing the new expansion at the same time the next day. But I was like, no, it like for the actual card game, not the mobile one, because I didn't realize that the Mega Evolutions were taken out of the actual TCG. I was like, oh, they're just adding it back in with like new balanced abilities and things like that, because that shit's always changing.
Yeah, so I guess Udon, do you got something on the Monster Hunter deal?
Oh, well, so Monster Hunter Wilds came out today. Had a great release. There's over fucking million people playing it on just Steam by itself, despite its user reviews, because I guess it's optimized like shit. It's not based on the actual gameplay. It's just based on the fact that the people have not necessarily crappy setups, but their computers can't handle the games. So they're mad. But I'm not like historically a huge Monster Hunter guy. I only really started playing it in Worlds, kind of like a lot of other people did, probably. Because Monster Hunter, until Worlds came out, was a pretty niche like game series, I believe, mainly on the PlayStation and a couple on the Nintendo consoles here and there. But I was looking forward to this only because I know all my other friends really like it. I bought it because I want to play, I want to play Monster Hunter with them, hunt monsters. It's a pretty straightforward game. And after playing World, I played Rise, and Rise was pretty decent. I played that on the Switch. I only played that by myself, so I didn't play that one nearly as much. I probably wouldn't play this game, or probably wouldn't buy it if my friends weren't buying it. That being said, I like Rise better than World, and I like World better than this. And I don't think this game is necessarily bad, but I don't know. It has a lot of added in like problem, or not really problems, just like a bunch of fluff between the stuff. Typically, I'm a story guy. I like stories. I like characters. I like intrigue. I like asking me questions about the fucking human condition and what's the meaning of life, yada yada yada. But holy fuck, they decided to go fucking balls to the wall with this game and a story, and I just couldn't give less of a fuck. Because I'm just like, every monster, especially in the early game, it's like, every monster has like a ton of cutscenes and other shit you have to go through before you actually get to fighting the damn thing. They've also decided to add dumbass Red Dead Redemption, like, this is the ride the horse segment while people talk to you part of the game, where you pretty much do nothing but sit there and listen to people talk, except this time there's nothing interesting is happening. And I just want to kill shit. That's all I want to do. Plus your hunter has a voice now, which I also feel is really weird. Because in Monster Hunter Worlds, it was really simple. You'd go to a place, your handler would do something stupid, and then you have to save their dumb ass by hunting the monster, whatever monster they pissed off that day. It was really simple. And then the overall arcing story is that they're big bad monster you have to take care of because it's a big bad monster, and we don't like those. That's it. That's all the story was. And you can argue with me saying that it was deeper than that. I generally don't think it was at all. So I was getting aggravated because I was just skipping cutscenes, skipping dialogue, just trying to get to the part that's actually fun, hunting the monsters. And I don't know. It was really annoying just for that. I mean, granted, you can skip the cutscenes unlike Ghost of Tsushima, where it's not like I didn't care about the story, but again, Ghost of Tsushima doesn't have like a whole lot of interesting things to say, or that is something I really care about, and I can't skip those cutscenes. But the gameplay itself is great. The monsters are really cool. I mean, at some point in the future, you might be seeing footage of me fighting the fucking oil flame octopus. That was fucking awesome. I dealt with his ass the same way I dealt with Gooper Blooper in fucking Super Mario Sunshine. So the gameplay itself is really fun. But like just small things like connecting to your friends is a bit odd and difficult. You have to do this link squad and then environment link and just all this weird shit. It was like, what happened to days where I can just party invite go? Like that's it, just hunt monsters. that, and like the game has a pretty big open segments of biomes for you. And the thing is that I don't know. When it opened up, I immediately started running out there just to see what I could do. And I come across this monster I haven't seen yet, this big like sandworm looking thing. And I start to fight it, and your handler, who this time is attached to you at the fucking hip, unlike last time where you were just on your own on an adventure, she's following you fucking everywhere. She's like, no, you don't have permission from the guild to engage that monster. You can't hunt it. I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Like, because the game's literally telling me, oh, watch out there. You almost had too much fun. I'm just like, oh my fucking god, this is ridiculous.
You need
like,
a poaching permit.
Yeah, it's like this is a monster hunter, and you're telling me I can't hunt the monster? Are you shitting me? It was just ridiculous, and just a bunch of story nonsense that I just did not care to be a part of. So I skipped it all. I technically beat the game, like heavy air quotation marks yesterday, because Monster Hunter is one of those games where like the real game starts at the post game, not during the game, which is again why I thought adding all this story fluff was fucking ridiculous, because it's not important at all. But yeah, I mean, besides all the fluff about it, I mean, the good news is the main gameplay loop is still really good, which I guess is the important part. But it's all the fluff surrounding it that really annoyed me. Just be unable to connect with your friends. You have to go through all these hoops just to fucking fight something is really ridiculous. I don't know. It was okay, Corey, where the fuck are these bananas at? It's starting to piss me off.
I think you have to get them out of a tree.
Thank you. How? I got that part. We have this bitch ass
Can you knock
over here.
the monkey's throwing shit at you? Are those banana trees right there?
No,
that's what I'm saying. But what am I supposed to do? Like,
no, if it's anything like the new one, it's a whole trading quest of like 7 different people. So you like trade one thing to one, and then that will give you the one for the next one, and then the next one, and the next one.
Okay, I guess I'm part way done with that, because I have this bow. I guess I have to go find out who wants the fucking bow then.
Look at all the choice of colors.
I think you're supposed to trade the banana for like dog food or some shit.
All right, well, we're gonna go find out. And now I have a bit of a clue. I've been proud of myself figuring out shit so far, but the games are like, go down to the beach to get bananas, and I'm like, okay, I guess so. And then there's bananas, but Link is just like, I don't know how to banana. Yeah, but I mean, that's the large and short of it. Wilds is still a really good game, because the main gameplay loop is still there. I miss my wire bugs from Monster Hunter Rise, and I miss in Monster Hunter Rise you also had these hunting dogs. Basically, they're these fucking ninja dogs that hold weapons in their mouths and help you fucking hunt. You can have 2 of them with you, and you could ride them like mounts because they're how big they are. Those fucking things were so damn cool, and now they're like, here's a raptor chicken, which I think the design of on a base level is really cool. It's a big ass like feather raptor chicken, but all you do is ride it. It doesn't help you fight. It just stands around and watches you. I'm just like, can you help me fight? Because like, I don't know. I was a fan of like the fantasy of, you're a hunter out with your hunting dogs taking down this big ass thing. That was cool, right?
How strong were those dogs, by the way?
I thought they were pretty strong. They were really useful. Like, I actually felt like their presence, at least in single player, because like in that game.
So that probably sounds like they removed them so they could encourage multiplayer by using that flare thing that makes no sense to call other people or bots if no one decides to show up.
Oh yeah, now you can just get bots. I'm like, dude, guys, come on, just fucking fight the monster. But now I sound like someone who plays Dark Souls too much. But yeah, it's pretty good. I just missed some stuff with the other. I missed the clutch claw from Monster Hunter World. There's the new wound system where you make wounds on the monster, and then you can keep attacking them for extra damage or latch onto them for like a big burst of damage. Is really neat. I like that a lot. So there's ups and downs. It's one of those game series that like gives you some stuff and takes out other things. They never keep like totally consistent, which I guess is a good and bad thing in this case. So yeah, overall pretty good game. I like it. I don't know, if you liked Rise, you might have some apprehension about it. It's also probably by far the easiest Monster Hunter I've played. Worlds is way harder than this game, and Rise is easier than Worlds. Worlds out of the 3 is easily the hardest. Just from Ner Gigante like alone and some of the Elder Dragons that you fight in that game. This game, I only died a handful of like maybe 2 or 3 times total, and it was mainly due to some bullshit move that the monster did. It's like, okay, I'm attacking the entire arena, and this is a one-shot skill. Go fuck yourself. I'm just like, cool. Like one time I even got killed by it. It's like, take cover. I'm like, okay, and I run behind a really thick fucking wall, and the blast just hits me, just clips through the wall and kills me anyways. I was like, cool, thanks, game. So that's a pain in the ass, but it only happened with one monster one time, and then I came back and finished killing it, so it's whatever. But it's a good introductory to Monster Hunter because of the somewhat simplified mechanics and the fact, like I said, the overall difficulty in this game I feel is really easy compared to the other Monster Hunters. But pretty good game. I'm going to keep playing it. Obviously, my friends are catching up to me because I just blitzed through the game. Obviously, like I said, I was skipping cutscenes and shit, and I never had to fight something more than once. So I just blitzed through it to get to the high rank quest. So I'm kind of waiting for everyone to catch up to me.
So with the Pokemon trading card game, all right, I've only played the very first part of it. Now I know they've had these updates that came along with it, gave you more booster packs and such. How is that game going so far with everything update wise to making it to where it is currently? Is it fun? Is it feel like it's being kind of stagnant, or what? Just what do you guys think of that?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of you have actually done the PvP part, while I've only just been doing collecting and the fighting computers. I never fought a single other actual person on there.
I only fought a handful of other people, and I like any other PvP game like this, I just don't care. I was only doing it for quests to get hourglasses, so I didn't give a shit whether I won or lost. I usually just fight the computer like you do. I thought there was a bit. No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, for me, I was quite enjoying the PvP thing. I actually got a little bit too into it. So I kind of like had to give myself a break. It was, I don't know, I was actually getting more involved with it because it was like strategy wise, kind of like playing yourself a little board game, keeping the mind moving with just random people that you'd encounter, to the point where I was doing the ranked ones, which was funny because all the ranked ones were all Japanese. Like every time I would go on there, it would just be nothing but Japanese writing. So I don't know what was
That's
was
when
about.
You're screwed.
Well, and I was winning, but they were putting up quite of a challenge. Like literally, like those were the ones that I literally had to really pay attention to whatever group that I was using, because at the point I believe I was using my grass Pokemon, because the grass pack that I had was Executor, which give him up really quickly. He can do a huge amount of damage very fast, and then I can't remember exactly. I got to look at my pack again, but I remember I had something involved to where if you could get Executor right away, you're basically going to win, because he hits for an astonishing amount of damage, and you're constantly able to heal him. I think it was Butterfree. I think if you have Butterfree and then you have Executor, you can keep healing Executor while he keeps attacking. So even though he's getting hit, you can keep reviving him, because the healing powder or whatever that you're doing doesn't require a move, and you can just do that to the pack. And so he just heals them, you throw a potion on top of him, he's brand new, and he just keeps hitting, and he has a lot of life. He's like a tank if you get the Executor EX version.
That's probably like some meta type of thing, like the very, very fragile Articuno and Misty card. That breaks so easily, but it's very funny to see that fail.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
It's a ride or die strategy. I mean, I'm kind of with Edwin. I'm mainly collecting the cards. I'm literally 2 cards away from finishing the Genetic Apex set. Just 2 fucking cards. I can craft one, but I'm trying to see if I can nab one and craft the other, and I'm finally done. Because I like collecting stuff. But I thought, really the only downside, I thought initially it took them a while to release a new set. Like Genetic Apex, I felt like was around a little bit longer than it should have without new stuff. But now it seems like they're releasing new packs at a pretty decent rate. Enough that I'm staying engaged with it at the very least, and it satiates my gacha addiction to be able to open up the 2 packs every day. Oh my god, this thing talks now. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Oh, you're gonna get him to follow you around, right?
Okay, I got dog food. Okay, fuck me. I've talked to this thing before and it never fucking did a goddamn thing. I literally came in here, I'm like, I wonder if I give the bow to this thing. I can't believe that fucking worked. anyways, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I think the battle mechanics are fun, at least against and the CPUs can get pretty hard, so I don't really feel like the need to fight people to get a challenge. And I do like that they introduce like the promo, like their CPU events essentially. So we when you fight for the promo packs and stuff, which are fun. So they make them pretty
challenging,
interesting. So,
yeah, they ramp up pretty quick. I like that they do that because it gives me the hourglasses and stuff, and I usually I already did this. Edmund was over here when I was doing the multi packs, but I'll store them up waiting for the next release of a new pack, and then just pull like 20 packs just to kind of see how many doubles I can get right away, because that usually ends up happening. But with the release of the most recent one, the Arceus pack, and before that it was the was Palkia and Dialga.
Yeah.
I used to I was spending some serious cash on Pokemon cards because, I would get a pack here and there if I was at the grocery store and be like, oh, this is kind of a fun little, buy a pack because I have, adult money now. So I can kind of go back to collecting. And then I realized that I could just also buy a whole Elite Trainer box, and then I could buy every Elite Trainer box that's getting released. And I was like, wait, I can't do that. I don't have any more room in my closet to store all these damn things because I don't play the card game. I just like collecting them because I'm a loot goblin. And now that I have the app, I'm just like, oh, I can pop a card pack every day. And it kind of I wonder how many people this has actually done this to as well, but I haven't actually bought a new pack of cards outside of whenever GameStop's like, hey, you get $5 a month or whatever. And so if you're like a Power Up Rewards, so I would just go there sometimes randomly if I'm in the area and be like, oh yeah, that's right, I have $5 this month. So it's just a free pack of Pokemon cards, and if you're lucky enough to pull like a expensive card, you get a free $5 pack, you pull like a $20 card. It's like, oh, well, that's relieving. I haven't bought an Elite Trainer box in a while, but this totally makes it so I don't buy physical cards anymore. I would like it if the physical cards somehow were like tied to the card game as well. In like a QR code, I scan it, and it would be damn near impossible for them to do this though. Of like whatever the cards I got in that pack are the cards that go into the app, because that would be hard as shit to do. But if I got a free pack based on that, or maybe they do like you buy 5 packs or something in real life, and then you get to open a pack. Who knows? But I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'll sit down and battle the computer every once in a while. I've only fought an actual player. I did like 2 times. One of them, the jackass just let the clock run out, and then the app froze, and it gave me a loss because they weren't going to win, so they just didn't play their turn. And the app doesn't cancel the battle if they, it just like locked up. I'll chalk that up with came out that week, but
yeah, I think they've updated it to where you do not have a whole lot of time to take your turn every turn. Like they've really reduced the amount of time you have before it just auto goes.
I've tried like an event online battle, but I don't really have like I get the same experience from fighting the computer. Technically, I don't know. It's not like when I'm playing, Fortnite or Call of Duty or something against people. It just doesn't have that same feel. So I don't really care if I can play against players or not. The trading thing's kind of interesting. It's weird. But we've been doing, that to kind of complete our decks with each other, I suppose, of what do you have? And then,
once you understand how it works, it's not terrible. I still just feel like it's still too many steps. You can still understand it, but at the same time, I also wish you could just fucking trade higher rarity cards as well, because I just want the full art trainer cards, and I would gladly just trade away my gold cards in order to get them.
Well, yeah, I think that, you should let me trade anything for anything, because if somebody's willing to give me an expensive card for completing it. Like, oh, I got some stupid oddish or whatever that you don't have, and I don't have that like EX card, and you got 14 of them. Like, why the fuck not? You could still make it expensive for you to trade versus me, but whatever. And the other, like the trade for trade has to be equal, right? Like the rank of the card.
Yeah.
I also wish that it was easier to keep tabs of what cards I do and do not have when it comes to like opening packs, because the whole point is to complete like a set, and you can look through your cards and see the empty spaces and click on them, and then they tell you what packs they're in. But when you're going into the opening of packs, it doesn't tell you your progress of that pack. And so, like, if I just knew, like, Charizard, you're missing 3 cards from this one, and then Mewtwo, you're missing 4 cards from this one or whatever. So, like, why not tell me that? Because I don't want to go through. We're at the beginning of this app. Let's face it, it's going to add more packs, right? It started with 3, then we got the Mewtwo expansion, the Mew one. Then we got 3 more packs. So now we're 7 packs deep, and we have multiple collections. A year from now, am I supposed to memorize all 1,000 cards that are sitting in my stupid fucking thing?
Well, when you look at first of all, I just want to say I agree with you as far as the physical cards go. I wish I could buy a pack in IRL and then just get a free pack in the app like they used to do in the older TCG apps. And because like I used to, I get the temptation to get Pokemon cards now and again with the Magic, and I also have a large collection of Magic the Gathering cards I don't play anymore because that game made me incredibly angry when I played it. But all of my cards are just sitting in a cabinet that I never look at. So unless I figure out some way to properly display them in like a frame or something, they're just going to remain there. So I kind of like this app in terms of like I get to collect them virtually, and I can actually use them too, because I didn't know anyone who actually played the card game and actually liked playing it. Because I played the shit out of the Game Boy one that they had for a while. I distinctly remember I was recovering from a surgery, so I was like bedridden, and I just played the Pokemon TCG on the Game Boy emulator on my DS forever. That was great. I loved it.
No, you're good.
But more to the point, so I like the fact that this is a way to collect and enjoy the cards without actually having them and just not, worrying about them collecting dust for no fucking reason. I'm trying to figure out a way to get rid of them, honestly.
I think the app does, real quick, I think the app does, it has that weird thing because you can have, like, binders, and then you can look through your friend's binder or whatever, but, like, I think that's weird. I don't know. I just never do that. But the thing that's kind of funny, much like how the trading card game works in real life, is whenever we are pulling packs, independently, wake up in the morning, you're pulling a pack or whatever, waiting for coffee, and it's like, oh, I got a good pack. Like, we'll screenshot it and send it in the chat to each other. Like, look at this card we got. And it's just like, the camaraderie of that is pretty fun. I do like that, at least.
Yeah, and unless I want to rip Edwin's head off because he's like,
oh, the God pack.
Yeah,
he pulled that God pack sitting next to us, and me and Selena were watching it. It's like, holy shit, he just got 5 full art fucking rare cards. I only got a God pack one time.
Later.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, because that's how this started. When you go to your card decks or whatever they want to call it, it will tell you, you can see which cards you're missing from the card decks, and if you click on what's missing, it'll tell you what the card is and what pack to get it in specifically. Because as of right now, when I look at mine, I know for a fact that the 2 cards I'm missing are both from the Pikachu pack, so I just have to rip Pikachu packs over and over again until I get what I need.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I know that part. I know that I can identify the packs, but it's just like I'm missing 20 cards, right? So it's like, well, where are they? Which packs are these from? And do I have to go through all of them and then remember?
That's what I was doing for Genetic Apex. I guess I didn't find it that difficult. I just looked through them and just kind of, because I pulled so many Charizard packs trying to get a full art Sabrina till I finally had to just give up and use my deck points to get it, which I shouldn't have. I should have used that to complete the collection first. But I think
Genetic Apex. I was going to say, I think Genetic Apex was easier to focus because it's one pack. but with the 3, I'm just like, okay, which one did I have to open again? Because it's not like Charizard has fire type only in it. It's a weird, like, hand-picked selection of what cards come from which ones. So you have this, like, I think I need to open this pack so that I can get, like, Arcanine or something like that. But it's because it would make sense that would be in Charizard. But it's like, nope, that one's actually in Mewtwo or something. And it's like, what?
Yeah, the app is like a nice looking design, but it's definitely not streamlined. Like I know what you're saying. It's like the genetic apex and like the multiple packs in like the same expansion. The card list is all like fused together. So like one card is from one pack, and then the next card right next to it is from a different pack. They're not like all separated by pack. They're separated by expansion. So it just makes it hard to like find out which one is which. And it doesn't help that like 5 pop-ups happen every time you get cards.
Unless you're looking at it, I mean, there's a thing you just click and it separates it by packs. I always found that easy.
It separates it by expansion. That's what pisses me off.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess I don't know. Again, I never found it that hard. I just looked. I went through the cards that I was missing, and I just kind of mentally noted which ones I noticed that I had everything from the Charizard pack, and then only stuff from Mewtwo and Pikachu left, and then like I would determine which higher rarities are in which ones, or which one I just needed more from, and just take it as that's the one I'm going to be opening. I don't know. I guess I just didn't find it difficult. I suppose.
I just found it
just happened on that screen.
Huh?
What did you just do?
He took a picture.
Oh, I was like, did you just go like tell that guy to get lost? And he just
No, it's a weird mouse creature like taking Link's picture, and you get like these cute little chibi pictures that I thought were neat.
Okay.
I just forgot that I already did that, and I needed to go back and do that before I continued on here. Which, speaking of,
is there
thank God for the emulator.
Is there anything else we want to go over before we get into trivia?
Well, we can just address why we're not doing
the Tomb Raider.
Yield Tomb Raider. So, first time since we've started this that we're not having a game of the month. I thought that was going to say bomb sus places. I was like, damn, these guys were ahead of their time. But basically, not only that I didn't think a lot of us were super enthused about doing it. I mean, I like Tomb Raider, I don't know, but just compared to all the other games we've done, I felt like not a lot of everyone's heart was in this one. We were going to do it because the second batch of the remasters were coming out. And I started to play it because I have the first 3 for PS1. However, as I learned, because this Tomb Raider is a super nostalgic title for me, because really early in my childhood, that was a game my mother played, and I would watch her play it as a kid before I understand what the fuck a video game was. And so hearing the music and the sound effects and stuff was like super nostalgic for me, and I was really enjoying it. But the difference is that my mother played it on her old Macintosh, I think it was.
Yeah.
And on the PS...
old PC game.
Yeah, so on the PS1, and I actually remembered that in that game, you could save wherever you wanted to. You cannot do that in the PS1 version. It is your limited save files based on these little crystals you find. Which it's like, well, I guess that's just a different way of doing it. It's like, well, no, this game is unfortunately, I really like it because I was having a lot of fun with the platforming. The platforming is really tight and really fun. Combat's, but I was like, no, I was having fun, but then this game is also filled with a shit ton, and I mean an absolute shit ton of fucking just like instant death bullshit. And when you have limited saves, because as soon as I died to some nonsense like I really shouldn't have, and then it set me back like 45 minutes of my time, I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm going to be able to do this. Had I figured that out earlier, I might have just coughed up the $30 to play the remaster, because that adds the save anywhere thing into the console version. But I didn't, and I was like, well, and then Corey was like, well, I'm going to play it, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll just watch you play it, because there's not enough time for me to go out and because if I was going to buy it, I wanted a physical copy. So you were going to play it, and then...
I was, so I was trying to find an original copy, and I went to the local retro store, and oddly enough, the only copy I could find was Sega Saturn. And it's like, okay, I mean, I guess. They were even surprised that I was looking for that game too. And I got it home, and then I remember I started playing it with Edwin over here and I saved the game and was like, okay, we'll pick this back up. I plugged in the Saturn to go play it again during the week because I was like, oh, getting down to the wire, and my save was gone. So I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay. I kind of figured it has like a flash memory or something on, because it's the Saturn stores the saves within it. So I was like, well, it's been unplugged for a while, maybe that's something. And so I was playing the game, and you come across those crystals which go away after you use them one time. So if you made any other progress and want to go back and save it, you can't really do that. But they are kind of scattered around as like a pretty solid checkpoint, I think. I saved the game, and then I was playing, and then I died, and then I loaded in, and it's like, okay, so I beat the next level or whatever. And I'm gonna put the death. I clipped it. It's like 20 seconds, but I'm gonna put my death in here that like kind of stopped me from playing the game. But I I felt like a Family Guy character and just immediately died because of the. It was pretty damn funny. I feel kind of shitty too because it spent like. I had to pause my recording because I was just failing this jump sequence for like maybe 30 minutes because it's such a like very precise placement of buttons. Because you got the jump and the ledge grab, and she has a delayed jump when you run and jump and blah blah blah. But anyways, I fell to my death, splattered all over the ground, and because it was so long between my save and when I died, the system had already forgot that I had saved the game. So when I went to load, it locked into the load screen, and I was waiting for a while. I was like, this is taking a minute. And then it's like, oh my God, it froze. And so there was no way, especially with the instant death bullshit, is I would have to play through the game without dying one time. And if I wanted to even get to the end. And I was like, I'm not doing a hitless run kind of thing. That's just impossible. So I was looking into why this might happen, and apparently there's an internal battery inside the Saturn that holds the memory, and it was, the Saturn's obviously a very old console, so that battery has long since died. And I didn't know about this because I've never had one before, so now I have to try to find a battery so that I can save Sega Saturn games again. But there is also a memory card thing. That's a whole nonsense thing that I have to buy stuff, and I just don't really have excess funds to invest into getting my Saturn to work right now. I don't really have a big library for that. So, but I mean, that comes with the penalty of wanting to go back and play nostalgic games on nostalgic consoles. I think last night, I was sitting here for maybe an hour and a half trying to figure out which game I wanted to pick up and play. And I was like, I can't even randomly select a PS3 game or PS4 game or PS5 game right now. Because I have to install it. I have to install it. Then there's probably just some stupid ass update that I got to download. So if I wanted to spontaneously play a game on a modern console, I have to wait 45 minutes basically to even get involved with it. So, it's like, well, maybe I'll go back and play like a PS2 game or something. At least those memory cards are like my Action Replay cards that I have. I think that's the brand that makes like third-party bullshit. Like those worked. And, I ended up settling on the HD remake or remaster of Final Fantasy X, but it was just kind of like, oh man, this really kind of, it's a gut punch of like playing on retro consoles, because it's like that really is a hindrance to know that I do have to kind of fix something, but that comes with the the I guess territory of playing on older consoles, because it's like there's a good chance it's going to just eventually age out. Whereas the newer consoles, they postpone your fun because, bullshit installation times.
Well, because, I mean, we might as well just jump into it now because we've already started the conversation. But this is part of the reason why I was like disappointed that the remaster collection of the leak remaster what turned out not to be real. Because at my work, they're really cutting down on forcing us to take our lunch breaks, and I was like trying to figure out a way to basically fill out my time. And I was like, oh, I'll do the same thing I did with when I used to ride the bus to school. I was like, I'll just bring my Game Boy SP and start playing Pokemon. So I grabbed my SP and I grabbed my copy of Fire Red, a Japanese Fire Red, because I thought it'd be fun to play through the game when I can't understand what the fuck is going on. And I started playing it, and it was going fine at first. But then a bunch of error messages kept popping up. I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I can't read this shit. And when I got home, I was like, whatever. I'm assuming there's something wrong with it. So I'll start playing my Sapphire version. And I started having to, give the good old blowjob to the cartridge, try and getting it to go. And eventually got it going. It's like, save data has been deleted. I'm like, that's not good. Because when I tested that, I had the same message. But I eventually got it going and thought everything was fine. But I only tested it for like a minute. And then I kept wrestling with the damn thing, trying to get it to work. And the save file kept deleting or getting corrupted. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Eventually, I had, longer story short is that I eventually took it back to the store I had, and they opened it up. It turned out the battery had leaked acid onto the motherboard, and so that's why I was fucking up. Because I was like, I know it's not my Game Boy, because the rest of my Pokemon games are working just fine. But that came, that happened, and then directly after that, the leaks for the old games ended up not being real. And I'm like, man, it was kind of it was a double whammy, because I was like, it'd be nicer to have all these old games that I want to play on modern console. I mean, the footage that's coming with this is the fucking Link's Awakening for the Game Boy that I'm playing right now. And playing these old games on modern consoles, even if it's not remastered, just having the nice things like the rewind and the fucking oh wait, I heard a the fuck did I unlock? All right, whatever. But like having all those nice little things is really good. So porting older stuff to just easier to play on newer hardware, because all this older shit is really getting harder and harder to use. Because I have 3 GameCubes. All of them have the same fucking issue of all their disc readers are going out. So I really have to like sit there and try for minutes and minutes, and sometimes 30 minutes, 45 minutes on end trying to get this thing to fucking work. Or I can use my Wii, which is slightly newer, so it's a little bit better. But I want to use my GameCube. You don't, when you start off the Wii, you don't get the, you don't get the open up starting, animation. That's not fun. So I know it's just annoying that some of these other things, especially GameCube titles and stuff, like older systems, aren't being ported over, at least in an easy way. Because what was nice about porting the old Game Boy games to the Virtual Console and the DS, the old Pokemon games, was the fact that all those save files ran on batteries, and all of them are dead now. You can replace them, but if you bought them at any time as a kid, they're dead now. They're long dead. They can't hold a save anymore. And then they added the nice feature of being able to, even connect them to the Pokemon Home, so you can even keep your Pokemon now. That was really cool. So I don't know. I was just disappointed that all these. I like playing stuff on original hardware, and it's nice when it works. But sometimes this shit's just getting so old and starting to break down. So having all this old stuff in a newer way to experience it, even past that point, is nice. So it's just really disappointing that they're not doing that with Pokemon. That was just an issue I was having. So that was just my long and short of it. Just acknowledging our old consoles and stuff, or cartridges and games, are getting older, and it's just disappointing that sometimes they're not giving us a way to experience them on modern hardware. Because obviously my Switch is going to last a lot longer. Hell, maybe it won't, because my SNES and 64 still work. But it's just more convenient, right, to play on games like this with the added little features and stuff. So,
there's a lot of like third-party companies that make stuff. Like there's this 64, like it's like a 4K 64 thing with wireless controllers or whatever that's coming out that plays 64 games. As neat as that is, I definitely don't want to spend $250 on something that does that, because I don't really care that much. But like there's God, what is it called? It's like the Retro Boy or whatever, has like Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo slots, and you could play your old games on that if you don't have a Super Nintendo, and it's not like that expensive. I think it's like $80 or something like that. And
just get a Soldier Boy.
I think you can get a Soldier Boy and
play nothing. But I had to do
there's Sega. I have a mini Genesis that has like preloaded games on it. That's like it's like the mini Super Nintendo and whatever they were doing. But it also takes Sega carts, which is kind of neat. But I also have a Genesis as well. It's neat that the little mini thing that they released to have like the greatest hits of Sega on it also works like an actual Genesis. So like if they did that with a Saturn or something, but it's like a disk drive and things like that. So maybe there's some third-party thing out there that does run those games, and I could just find one and play it. But it's just something about playing it in its like natural habitat, for lack of better term, is just neat, because like I didn't really get to experience Sega consoles as a kid, so it's kind of fun to like have the actual controller and like participate in that, to just be like, oh, okay, this is what, people were, playing, that wasn't me, because I had Nintendo stuff. And the PlayStation 3, being the original PS3 was backwards compatible with PlayStation 1 and 2, and I had one of those, but then it killed itself, so it's like, great, now I have to find a PS2 if I want to have backwards compatibility to PS1 and 2. But then I needed to get a PS1 in general because I was playing Parasite Eve, and the way that the laser track thing or whatever, I couldn't put the next disc in because it wouldn't load disc 2 when I made it to disc 2. So Udon brought me a PlayStation 1 from his retro store so that I could just finish Parasite Eve. I was trying to find an original PS1 and they didn't have one at any of the stores nearby me. I mean, I know that the internet exists, but it's more fun to kind of just go out and hunt them down in the wild.
Yeah,
and
part of the hobby.
Yeah, because it's like, well, I could solve all my problems by going online and just searching it, but it's I like the excitement of like, oh man, look at this, I'm standing in front of it. And also, I'm not going to have somebody just mail me a stupid ass box that has nothing in it. That's the other part of the fear is like,
and then pay a reasonable price in store rather than online, some bullshit thing.
Yeah, because I like retro game collecting. I mean, it's fun. I mean, Udon's going to be up here shortly, and we're going to go on our annual adventure to find some stuff, which should be exciting. I don't know if I'm going to start my search for Xbox 360 stuff, but we'll see. Because I know there's a few games on there that I kind of wanted to play and just kind of get that collection going again, but. Yeah.
All right, so we want to jump onto some trivia?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, it's trivia time. All right, the first question we have is, in Metroid Dread, what is...
What are you saying?
This dude is...
I think his internet's dying.
Games don't hold saves, so like if I play Pokemon, I can't do it, so...
You good?
Your internet had a real bad cutout there. Apparently, I think you were cut off from us as well because
reality.
It seemed like you were done, so Jordan started the trivia thing, and you were phasing in and out like a fucking ghost from Poltergeist or something through the static TV screen.
Yeah, we didn't know you were still talking.
I don't think I.
You did.
I don't even know what the last. I just said it sucks when like all my batteries are dead in my Game Boy, and that's pretty much all I said.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's.
And then Jordan said, "Let's do trivia," but he said it weird, like he tripped on something. So I just laughed.
All right. Well, let's just take two. Let's try this again. All right. So yeah, first number one in Metroid Dread. What is the name of the advanced suit Samus acquires that provides her with enhanced abilities? Is it A, the gravity suit, B, the Varia suit, C, the fusion suit, or D, the Phazon suit? And there's a rumble.
I want to see
suit?
the Varia suit is like, isn't that Prime and stuff? I want to say D just because it's a new game.
Well, it was like it's Dread. It was like I don't as much as I don't remember much from Dread. All that.
Oh, maybe it's...
all that sounds like from a bunch of different games put into one. I was like, I don't remember any of that in Dread. So I just
I'm gonna
picked,
split
like,
my
the basic
answer.
Varia suit.
I'm gonna say the fusion suit, and then I'm also gonna go with D.
Jesus.
2 parts. I'm 50-50 in this shit.
50-50. I'm gonna half point it if I get one of them right.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and go for it. So the answer is C, fusion suit.
Damn it! Oh wait, no, I said fusion suit. Yes,
That's half a point cheater.
Yep. All right, and question number 2. In Animal Crossing New Horizons, which of the following characters was introduced as a part of the 2.0 update in 2021? Was it A, Cap'n, B, Tortimer, C, Mr. Rossetti, or D, Brewster?
Wait.
What the fuck?
What year was it?
Again?
In Animal Crossing New Horizons, which of the following characters was introduced as a part of the 2.0 update in 2021?
I think it was I think Brewster and Cap'n were at it at the same time, weren't they? So I think 2.0 was the last update, wasn't it? So I'm just gonna go with Brewster. I'm pretty sure that was like the biggest one that was added. So
I'm gonna say Rossetti because he's an asshole.
I'll go with Tortimer.
All right. Answer was D, Brewster.
hey,
Who the fuck is Brewster?
it's the fucking pigeon in the roost. Everyone lost their fucking shit when it was announced that they were bringing that stuff
Oh, the
back.
coffee maker. Okay.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now that his name is that. Jesus.
Oh, God.
People lost their shit when he
I
was
don't
like
play Animal
re-announced.
Crossing. I played the first Animal Crossing, and then I played that shitty party game where you just gamble on turnips.
The stock market.
I don't know anything else. I don't even know what that game was outside of that. It came with shitty amiibo cards, and then it was just like, "Hey, thanks for
Amiibo
$40
party.
or whatever." Yeah, I don't know. It was dumb.
I just
It
remember
was
that you
fucking
fucking.
stupid.
I just remember that you bought it, and that was the only way you could get the Isabelle or Digby amiibo. And then like you were fed up with it, and you traded them into GameStop, including the amiibo. And then I walked in not too long after you were there, and I saw the Isabelle amiibo on the shelf. I was like, oh sweet, now I could buy this amiibo without having to buy that shitty game.
I haven't really done that
Your
with a
loss
lot
of
of
my
games.
gain.
You know, but that one I definitely was like, son of a bitch. Like, it was just, I think I bought it because I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to have a party game night, guys. Let's go. 4 controllers, let's get it. And they turned it on and I was like, where are the mini games?
I'm
What is
pretty.
this? Oh shit.
It was a really like shitty like Monopoly Game of Life type of thing, but it's very funny because I'm pretty sure that I won the exact same way that Aaron won on Game Grumps when they played it on there. Because the last thing that happened was there was an event where your character like supposedly had like this card, like the solitaire card like table, and it sold for like 75,000 like gold or something, and then I just won immediately. That's the exact same thing that happened with Aaron. I was like, he won just because of that. I was like, oh, cool. I was like, so this game is bullshit all around for anyone that plays it.
Yeah. The game sucks.
All right, question number 3. In The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which new gameplay mechanic was introduced that allows Link to manipulate objects in unique ways? Was it A, time shift, B, echo ability, C, fusion mechanic, or D, spirit link?
C. It's C.
Is
There's
it
some
just
crazy
called
shit that
fusion
people have made.
mechanic. I just know it's about being able to just cobble together fucking ad hoc contraptions to do really simple shit.
I was expecting
Crazy
to hear
Glue
Ultra
Simulator.
Hand.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, the answer was C, fusion mechanic.
Yay.
I expected to hear Ultra Hand on that because I think that's what the whole thing is called. I don't know if it's like one specific part of it.
I think it's just like the name of the actual mechanic, maybe, and not like the name of what they call it in canon or something. But that mechanic is so cool, and people have made some dope stuff, like giant Megazords and types of shit. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to make a boat with it's just a plank of wood with a fan, or I'll attach rockets to like an eagle thing and just launch myself across the map. But nothing like the infinite solar bike or whatever people are using to fly all over the damn map.
I've just seen full-on Gundam mechs people have made. Like,
It's so cool.
I mean, I wish there was like a mode where you can just have infinite battery just to fuck around, but I'm pretty sure that's like only like a mod-based thing.
yeah,
That
so
would
it
be
sounds
very
like a
fun.
mod.
Yeah, and I would know nothing of that.
Well, they just want you to go up.
Attaboy.
Cool.
Yes, exactly.
Never fails us.
He's speaking to the heart.
But
Well, now loading. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be wrapping it up. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, Twitter, and the YouTube channel to be notified of new episodes. Hit us up with 5 stars, and don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. And for all you gamers out there, just remember to keep exploring, keep playing, keep listening. Until next time, this is the Mediocre Remembrance Podcast signing off. Thanks for listening.
Chandelier's my song.
Hey, this is Corey, and thanks for checking out Mediocre Rumble Brothers. If you liked the video, please drop a like, and if you didn't, that's fine too. If you'd like us to talk about any specific games, drop a comment below, or feel free to discuss your experience with the games that we've mentioned in the episode. You can also listen to our episodes prior to YouTube on our Spotify. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.